Hi, I'm Kimberly with Astrology Bodies, and today's video is about the astrology of December. And it's near the end of November right now, and I don't know about you, but definitely have felt the stress and tension of just everyday life. November had like the middle to the end of the month was a lot of tension with fixed signs. So I'm definitely feeling it. I am a Leo, and that's a fixed sign. So I definitely notice it. Maybe you do too. So for December, I'm going to go through the overview for the month, and then I'll go through horoscopes for each sign, just spending a few minutes on each sign. And please look for my free class. They'll be at the end of the video, probably at the beginning. You may have seen it already. The link to see my free class for dealing with stress using astrology. All right. So we're starting out with the beginning of the month with Neptune. And this month has a lot going on. So here's Neptune, and it is turning direct on December 1st. And it's an outer planet, so it stays retrograde for a long time. What's nice is that it has some sextiles here with Venus and Pluto and Capricorn, a trine here. The only thing is the beginning of the month, we got this moon opposite Uranus, but that's only lasts a couple of days. So not too stressful. That's that fixed sign axis because it's square to Saturn over here. This part we're going to get to later in the month, but just know that Saturn and Uranus do their last exact square at the end of the month. And so leading up to that, the moon will be triggering it during the month, the whole month long, like every week. But generally, we got Neptune turning direct. So this just means anything that was mysterious or really confusing, you're more likely to get some clarity now. Now we're going to go into December 3rd, which is one of the main events, the big main event, solar eclipse. So sun and moon conjunct. It's a new moon, but it's really close to the nodes, and we always get an eclipse when that happens. So every 6 months we have a set of eclipses, and we just had one. We just had one in Taurus couple weeks before this. So this one is conjunct Mercury, and it's in the same sign as the South Node too. So because Sagittarius, it rules the central nervous system. So nerves are just more active right now because the South Node lowers the energy. Then we have an eclipse. Solar eclipse means the light of the sun is going to be blocked temporarily. So even though you may not be able to see it where you are, you could still feel the effects. So blocking the light that's trying to reach Earth can affect us. Now, Mercury, because Mercury also is associated with nerves, thinking processes, anxiety. This combination here, it just suggests a little bit of more anxiety than usual. Let's see, and that's the main thing. Like, for this chart is set up for Los Angeles, so it isn't the case for all cities by any means, but in this particular one, you can see it's exactly opposite the midheaven, and it's square the ascendant. So for Los Angeles or Southern California, that's a T-square. So it should be interesting to see how it affects the population here. So solar eclipse, let me just give you more information. Think of it as a new beginning, new ending. So when I talk about each sign's horoscope, I'll use those terms: new beginning, new ending, however you want to look at it. Sometimes it's dramatic, sometimes it's not, just depending on how it's affecting your personal chart. All right, December 7th, Mars square Jupiter. So here's Mars, here's Jupiter, they're square. And once again, I'm not listing all aspects for the month. I'm just picking out the ones that could give you, I'm just picking out the ones that are more likely to notice, in your day-to-day life. So Mars and Jupiter actually work well usually. There is a square here, but Mars is strong in Scorpio. Jupiter, not quite as strong. So Mars is going to have a little bit of an upper hand here. So, I mean, it is tension, but it's also constructive. So that's the way to look at stress and tension. How do you make use of it without going overboard, without getting stressed out? So Mars in Scorpio is definitely better behaved. So what you're driving at, what you're going after, it may need an adjustment, but you can definitely work it out because Jupiter is one of those fortunate, luckier planets. Now, was there anything else here? Oh, and also, just going to mention, we had a lunar eclipse in November, and it was in Taurus. And I'm just bringing it up just in case you notice it. The eclipse was at Taurus 27 degrees. So this Mars square Jupiter is at 26. It's opposite where that lunar eclipse was. It's more significant if it actually comes around and conjuncts the point, like hits it, not just oppose it. But I think that is something to watch. Mars opposite the point where we had the lunar eclipse while it's squaring Jupiter. So something that happened during that eclipse or that week of the 19th may come up again. So I did a chart for each of these main events. This one has several things here. Mars enters Sagittarius on December 13th, and Mercury goes into Capricorn. So whenever a planet changes signs, you definitely get a shift of energy. So Mars is leaving its ruler of Scorpio. It's now in Sagittarius. So it's makes you a little bit more rambunctious in Sagittarius. I should know, I actually have this on my chart. It does suggest being accident prone, even, accidents that are not in your control. So that's changing Mercury and Capricorn. So shifting our thinking and communication to be more organized and constructive here. Capricorn likes to plan and be organized, similar to Virgo. So Venus and Pluto are also conjunct here in Capricorn. So you can see we have a shift to Capricorn energy, even though the sun is still in Sag. So we got Sag and Capricorn energy going on strong here. So this one's important because, and you'll see in my highlights listed in the description, Venus conjuncts Pluto, and it goes one more degree. It's barely moving, and then it goes retrograde. And then it's coming back here, and it's going retrograde, and then it's going to reverse, do its thing. So Venus is hanging out in Capricorn for several months, much longer than usual. So think of Venus and your relationships, Pluto in a catharsis or a revealing something coming up from the depths. So there's something in any kind of relation, well, usually romantic relationship, something that you weren't aware of could be revealed here. And anytime during this Venus in Capricorn, because it's going back and forth and hanging out near Pluto. Full moon on December 18th, just before the solstice, 27 Sagittarius. And this full moon is really just has a nice sextile and trine to Jupiter here. So that definitely makes it an easier full moon. It's kind of nice after all the stress and tension of November and the stress and tension that's coming up with Saturn and Uranus. So we got this full moon. Usually people have more energy during this time. So there's an outlet with Jupiter that's much more easygoing. Just want to point out, shortly before the 18th, I didn't have a chart for it, but Mars conjuncted the South Node. That's definitely something you want to look out for. So that happened like the middle, probably like the 13th, 14th. Oh yeah, that's right. Shortly after the 13th, because Mars went into Sagittarius that time. So South Node depletes energy. So you won't feel as energetic. And that, I mean this generally for everyone with the Mars conjunct that South Node, and that accident prone energy is definitely emphasized. So when it gets a little bit further away here, then you won't feel that energy as much. So right after that full moon, I like to point out the Sun, Jupiter favorable aspects, 28, Sun and Jupiter and sextile. So this is always favorable for like starting new things, presenting, announcing, like a new event, new project, having an event. Sun sextile Jupiter, or any favorable like Saturn, Sun conjunct Jupiter, Sun trine Jupiter. So that's happening on the 19th. And yeah, it's not really combined with anything. It's just, it's not going to be as felt as much because of this Saturn Uranus square that's about to happen. Yeah, and so I'm just going to point out, I think it's in the next chart. Hold on. Oh yeah, one more thing for the 19th, that's when Venus goes retrograde. So I already talked about that, but this is the day that it actually stops. You can see it's just hanging out with Pluto. And here we have the Saturn square Uranus. So yeah, so on the 23rd, so shortly before Christmas, 11/11, and the moon the day before on the 22nd will be exactly opposite Saturn in that square, creating just for a couple of days a T square. So that's likely to be the most tense or stressful time. So whatever you've been dealing with, your main conflict or struggle all year, you're going to feel it again on the 22nd, 23rd. It's a square, so think of it as an adjustment. It's the last exact square. These two will still be in range next year, but they don't come exactly the degree. They will still be in a square by sign. So you'll still feel the energy, but you'll be able to cope with it better. And the best happens to be the last. On the 28th of December, we get Jupiter in Pisces. Hallelujah. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay there very long. It moves super fast because it spent a short amount of time in Pisces this last summer, went retrograde in Aquarius, and now it's back to Pisces. It rules Pisces. These are traditional rulerships, so I don't consider Neptune the ruler. Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces, and so that means it's strong, it's more favorable. Pisces is going to get a boost from this for sure. It lasts until about May of next year, and then it goes into Aries. So try to take advantage of that each month. When we get some favorable aspects to Jupiter, those are good times to move forward with the project. Usually Jupiter spends about a year in each sign, but because it already spent a few months in Pisces, it only has a few more months left in total. So now I'm going to go through the horoscopes for each sign. I'm just going to spend a few minutes. The timestamps are in the description. I'm going to bring up a chart for each sign and talk about it. Okay, so, and also these are most accurate for rising sign. If your sun is in the sign, you have to, if your sun is in the sign, it may not rank like specifically as true for you. You'll see in the chart that I put the sign on the first house position on the left, horizontal plane there. So that sets up the chart for Aries rising. And that's how you know where the planets are affecting each area of life based on the time that you were born. If you don't know what time, you're just going to have to do your best guess or get a chart rectification with an astrologer who does that to look at your life events and see how they line up with possible rising signs. So Aries, looking at that Saturn, Uranus, all year you've been challenged in your finances with groups and allies. This trend is going to continue because of the nodes, and that's here and here. And you can see that they're about to change signs. They go backwards. So they're going to go from 1 to 0 and then to 29. And they're going to be Scorpio and Taurus. And so the fixed signs, you can see Uranus here in the second house. So that's been an emphasis, and it's going to still be an emphasis. It's just going to be a different type of energy. You're just there's going to be things happening that you need to focus, make you focus on other people's money and how it relates to your income. The eclipse is right here. So with the eclipses happening here, you probably have been having a transition in your beliefs or your philosophy, kind of a bigger picture, like how you relate to the universe, to the human race, that kind of thing. So any attitudes towards that have been changing, transitioning this last year and a half. And so with this Venus-Pluto thing going on, and again, I'm just talking about the month of December. So it's definitely highlighting career. Maybe a woman in regards has helped with your career, or maybe there's some kind of review. There may be something revealed in relation to your career path. It might be related to a woman that you work with, or is your mentor, or you're a mentor to someone. And what's nice here is that Jupiter is going to go into the 12th house. So that means, and because Jupiter is in Pisces, is strong, it's going to be really helpful for you to dig into like your inner motivations. So it's very favorable support, and it's going to help you connect to your inner motivations, your higher self. So you're going to have an easier time with that while Jupiter is here. Now we're going to go into Taurus. And your career and self have been at odds with each other lately. The disruption is going to continue because of Uranus right here. It's slow moving outer planet. So it's been here a little while. It's going to be here quite a few more years. But next year, it's going to be easier to cope with. So like I said in the overview, the last exact square is happening this month. Everyone's going to be feeling it to some degree, some more than others. Being a fixed sign, probably fixed signs feeling it more. We're going to talk about dealing with other people's money here. That has been an ongoing theme for the last year and a half. Your money, other people's money. This last eclipse is over here. So if this is other people, the 7th house, then the 2nd house from that is their financials, how they make money. It's joint finances here. So for this area up here, we got this Venus-Pluto conjunction happening. So this is definitely a review period, probably your beliefs or philosophies about romantic relationships. Remember, Pluto is likely to bring up something you didn't know about. It could be a secret, it could be just something you didn't notice, and then now you have that awareness. Now for Gemini, it's a good thing. Nodes are changing for you. You've had the North Node here. Even if it was your sun sign, Sun in Gemini, it's been sitting on your sun or close to your sun. And just probably bringing a little more anxiety, little bit more nervous. Nerves are active with Gemini. So you may reach some clarity with a career move from December on, while Neptune has gone direct. It's been up here in your career house for a while, so don't be surprised if things have been murky, foggy, confusing, hard to see what really is the reality here. That's just Neptune. It's been here for a while. It's going to be there a little bit longer. But now when it being direct, that's a good time to try to clarify career path. So now onto this Saturn and Uranus. Saturn sitting up here in your area of beliefs and philosophies. It can be religion. It's been challenging kind of your deeper psyche, things that are your inner motivations here. So this Uranus brings a lot of change here, a lot of surprises and unexpected things, and Saturn is definitely challenging that, Saturn being in the stronger position. So it's affecting Uranus, even though Uranus is trying to disrupt and act up. Saturn is keeping that under, keeping that in control. So in this area here, you got the Venus Pluto thing going on over here in the 8th house. And so you over here in the 8th house, you got Venus and Pluto going on. The Venus retrograde is going to be here. So any retrograde is a review. And so what's suggested here is Venus is here, your romantic relationships, how are they tied into other people's money? So that's something to look at right now. You got several months to work on that. So where money is shared with a significant other, review your reliance on other people's money, or like how you are tied into other people's money or financials. Now for Cancer, the work you've been putting into with your health can now start a new phase. So we're talking about the eclipse patterns that have been happening here. Health issues here, seclusion over here, inner motivations. But so the eclipses have been these two areas. So you've been putting in, I'm sure you've been putting in some work here. This is probably the last, you're going to start going through this last phase. So you can look at it as a new beginning or a welcomed ending, and moving forward with any challenges here. It could be related to your everyday job, your workday routine as well, because we know that workday routine definitely affects our health. So now with the Neptune up here, so with it being direct, you're going to have a more clear idea of like your big picture goals and how your beliefs are affecting everything that you do. So now we're looking at your interactions with groups. Could be small group, could be a large group. but these are like your friends, your allies, your fans. So there's been disruption here for sure. There's been a lot of upheaval and change. They've been kind of stopping and starting. And so now's the time to figure it out with this last square. It's the last exact square. There's an adjustment that needs to be made. And then you can use that, like get your plan together for the next year, and all you will have to do is tweak it. It won't be as difficult next year as far as dealing with groups, and also dealing with other people's money, joint finances here. This is the challenge here. So maybe you have a connection with friends, and their money, their income is tied to groups or groups of people that you are involved with. Could be social, it could be business, but there's been an ongoing challenge here. And so your seventh house is highlighted, Venus and Pluto and Capricorn, which is opposite Cancer. Even if your sun is in Cancer, this is happening opposite your sun sign. So it will relate to others. At the very least, Venus usually suggests romantic ideals. And so there's a big review period here on relationships. Look for hidden things to come up to the surface that will help you decide how to move forward. Here we are with Leo. Okay, and so let's look at social life and your friends. There's been some major overhauls here. The coming eclipse will initiate a new phase if it hasn't already. So that's over here: social life, creative projects, and children if you have it. Children are your creation. So that has been a big theme the last year and a half. So this is the last eclipse in this area. So new beginning, new phase. Could be big or small. Relationships are affecting career and vice versa. The major challenges have been all year long. So that's relationships here, Saturn, Uranus up here in career. So, and remember, this moon is going to come around just about every week and either oppose, or conjunct these, triggering that square for most of the month. So this challenge, like I mentioned in the overview, it's the last big challenge. It's time to have that final adjustment so that you only have to tweak it slightly next year. So how your relationships are working with your career. So let's look over here, this Venus, Pluto, and Capricorn. This is an area of some of your regular day-to-day job, and some health stuff that can come like out of the blue, that kind of come up without any, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, there's no hint. It's just kind of, it shows up, like just comes out from behind you. This house is hard to see. This one is hard to see. And this one here, it's hard to see for the rising sign. They're kind of hidden houses. Venus can be lazy. So just see how that's affecting any health or job duties here. Because at the retrograde, it's gonna make you review here. Could be related, maybe a relationship is a bad influence on your habits, and maybe that's what needs to be looked at because it's Venus. And that Pluto is what's going to bring up something you didn't think about before, some new awareness. Here we have Virgo. Some job issues may be holding back your grander plans, or your beliefs or your philosophy. They're being tested this month. This is um, this square right here. So it could relate to your job or the stress of your job. Saturn here is restricting, so you've definitely felt limited here. But sometimes we need those limits. We need to step back and redraw boundaries. Uranus is disrupting that. It's causing kind of the stop and start feeling. So beliefs and philosophy up here, that bigger picture, whether it's religion or even just moving forward with your higher education. So there's the challenge here, the last big challenge of this year. You'll only need to play around with it a little bit next year. Should be easier to cope with. So your social circle right here, Venus retrograde going through here. So just like some woman in your life, probably a friend, could be an acquaintance, but it's going to cause a little bit of review, some questioning. Look for something to be revealed in regards to your social interactions or your social circle. Don't be surprised if one of your friends has a big issue and comes to you for help. So the eclipses have been hitting you at these really strong areas of life, home and family and career. So this axis right here, the eclipses have either been happening here or up here. So this last one's happening down here. So home life could be a little bit more stressful, more anxiety producing here. I talked in the overview about Sagittarius, co-present with the South Node, which is kind of depleting. And even when the sun moves away, there's still an influence here until the node in January will move on to Scorpio. But by then the sun will have moved on as well. So sun and node are going to be, for entire Sagittarius season, it's going to be co-present with this kind of low energy feeling. So think of this as a new beginning or ending, like I said in the overview, and it's going to be relating to your home life and your career, how these two interact, how they affect each other. Here is Libra. Your social life has felt disrupted all year. This month continues with that. Best to accept the challenge, know that this year was the most difficult and it's going to get easier. You may feel you can't get through your to-do list as much as usual. The eclipse area may make you feel sluggish. It's right here. So this is a busy house that keeps you busy, but it's just that kind of day-to-day busyness. It's not like busy with like a huge move or career change. It's more the day-to-day busyness. It's going to feel more like you're busy but not getting as much done, kind of thing. So this has been going on a while, and so this is the last big phase of that. So it'll take a few months to work through that until the next eclipse, which is in 6 months. Let's look at the family life that Venus and Pluto are hanging out together. So this is a review period in regards to the family, probably more with the female family member, because it's Venus going backwards. So this may call your attention more the next few months, something in the family life, something you weren't aware of will come to light, and Venus will help you work through it in a very structured, organized way. So here's that Saturn Uranus square. So it's affecting the social life. You probably feel like not as social lately, probably some limits. Could be self-imposed, but it could also just be the situation you're in. You don't have a lot of control. So there's a challenge here with joint finances, other people's money. So your social life or creative projects are being challenged here. And like I said in the overview, this is the last big challenge, the last big adjustment. Any other changes will probably be mild in comparison next year. So this is the time to figure out whatever conflict, whatever challenge has been, that now is the time to make that final adjustment that's going to work going forward. Here is Scorpio. This last month was a doozy for you. A lot of tension here because you are directly related to this Uranus Saturn square. The tension is going to culminate the end of the month. That's your last big adjustment. So your family, your home life, being directly challenged by an important relationship. Could be more than one, but a one-on-one relationship. These are significant relationships. You're being disrupted and trying to challenge these boundaries and limits that Saturn is imposing. But Saturn is the stronger one here. So those disruptions really need to be dealt with in a very disciplined way. So the eclipses, you've been dealing with this for the last year and a half, your finances and other people's finances. This has been an ongoing theme. And so we got this last eclipse here. The eclipses are going to change starting next year. So this one, the energy will be felt probably for the next quite a few months until the next eclipse. But it's definitely making you overhaul your income and how you make money. It could be, it might not seem like a great transition right now, but it probably will be in the long run. So maybe there's some anxiety about it because of these the Mercury, the South Node, the Sagittarius emphasis here. But just know that it's not going to last forever. So you have some months to work with this. Just one other thing to bring up, Mars is going to enter Sag this month. So that just may make you a little bit more impulsive. So try to temper that. Mars really likes to jump ahead and kind of jumps before thinking it through. So try to slow down, like go against that desire to like jump ahead. Try to slow down. So the Venus Pluto emphasis here in this third house. So you may be busy with a sibling or cousin or kind of an extended family member that's a female, maybe needing your attention here because it's a retrograde. She's going to be here. Venus is going to be here for quite a few months. Look for a new awareness here, or something that's revealed by the Pluto could create the situation where this person may need you. Either way, you're gonna need to be there and help out this person. Here we are with Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, just like Gemini, is going to be relieved to get these nodes out of these signs. Especially South Node is a depleter and it's been in Sagittarius for a year and a half. So this axis here, just like similar to Gemini, you personally, these eclipses have been affecting you, your personality, your body, the individual you and your relationships. So this last eclipse is in Sagittarius. So this new phase, new beginning or new ending, however you want to think about it, it's definitely going to relate to the changes you've been making for yourself, and how you relate to other people. So that will shift over next year, but you have a few months to work with this last eclipse. This particular eclipse will probably make you feel less energetic than usual, because I would say Sag is a fire sign. It's a very energetic sign. Even when Mars comes in here and it hangs out with the South Node, maybe more stress or anxiety than usual, and that's okay. That too will pass. Here we are with Saturn and Uranus. It's highlighting kind of your local neighborhood, extended family, and squaring off, being challenged by Uranus over here, and with maybe some health issues. Could be minor ones, doesn't mean it's a major one. And it's not going to be news. We've been dealing with this for this year, this whole last year. And think of your health in relation to your job stress, like your day-to-day job duties. So this has been trying to disrupt kind of like your local routine. Yeah, like your local travel, commuting, your routine. This is kind of like the busyness of day-to-day life. So probably not as dramatic, this square for you as for some of the other signs. So this month has this last exact square. That's your last big challenge, last big adjustment. And then it just be minor tweaks here and there next year. This Venus, Pluto, this has highlighting your personal finances. So Venus definitely likes to indulge and spend, although being in Capricorn, it's definitely a little more conservative, but this is a review period. This is a good time to look for anything that you might have missed. So Pluto could be the big reveal, something that you forgot about, or didn't know you had to take into account. This is when it's going to come up, and it's time to review and redo. Capricorn. So you've got the highlighted Venus and Pluto going on here. It's nice to have Venus in your own sign, whether it's your rising sign or your sun sign. But sometimes Venus brings little gifts, so that's nice. Although this is a big review period here. So whatever you've been changing, working on in yourself, or if you haven't, you're going to be with this retrograde. Venus is going backwards and coming back to join Pluto. So you may become aware of something about yourself that is new, maybe exciting, maybe not. Let's talk about the Saturn Uranus affecting your creative projects, your social life, combined with your finances. This has to take the precedent because it's Saturn. It's stronger than the Uranus. So this has been a year of really sticking to limits and boundaries with your finances. Jupiter there has definitely been helpful, definitely bringing things in. Saturn is going to limit that. So there's this growing and restricting energy at the same time, but Saturn's going to stay here while Jupiter moves on. This last square is your last adjustment period. So time to stick to a new plan, no matter what the disruption over here, whether it's your children or a creative project, or something going on with your social interactions. This is where we like to have fun here. So this is being disrupted. Don't let it mess up any limits over here. So the eclipses, you've been dealing with this area here. This is not a very fortunate house here. And then these are some health stuff and job day-to-day duties. So this interplay here, something here that something could happen in your job here, make you a little bit more reclusive. And of course, with the pandemic, maybe you've had more seclusion than other people because of these eclipses going back and forth between these areas. So this is the last big transition or last change. Then they're going to move on. These areas will be then highlighted starting next year. So mentally, you may be exhausted here because of that Saturn. I'm sorry, the South Node is hanging out here. It's a depleter. So just know that it's temporary. Nerves and anxiety, that kind of thing, are suggested in this house more than the others. Mars is coming in here, it'll bring some energy, but it's going to be a low energy. It's not going to be super helpful. Next, like for example, in 2 years when Mars comes around here, it'll be more helpful because the South Node won't be here. Here we are with Aquarius. So you've been focused on friends and our children or creative projects, social activity, all this right here. This eclipse brings a new ending or beginning to a situation, however you want to look at it, as far as beginning or ending. So the next few months, you'll have to deal with a new change, maybe a letting go of a group of friends or some kind of group that you've been interacting with, because the South Node eclipse is up here. So that will affect your fans, your allies, groups of people that you work with. So that's going to be the next few months until the next eclipse. So the restrictions you've been feeling, they are going to continue. The good thing is that Saturn rules Aquarius. So this is going to be easier for you than most people, meaning another sign having Saturn in their first house in their sign definitely tends to bring our energy down, and we feel restricted. But Aquarius is already comfortable with that. Jupiter moves on, so Saturn hangs out here, and whether it's your sun sign or rising sign, Saturn is going to be hanging out in Aquarius for a couple more years. So you're going to be comfortable with these limits. This year has just been a challenge because of the start-stop feeling. This is disrupting energy coming from like the family or your home life. It's been very challenging to you personally, what you are trying to get done. So time to make that last big adjustment and then move forward, knowing that you have a good plan, because Saturn likes to have a plan, and the disruption will only be minor. Over here in this area, Venus and Pluto, this is where some inner motivations may come to light, may make some realizations about yourself here mentally, because Venus is going backwards here, reviewing this. A female may help you with this, but something could be revealed here, and that probably is going to be helpful because Venus is a more fortunate planet here. Here we are with Pisces. This last year probably felt reclusive and busy at the same time, because you got this suggesting the reclusiveness. But over here is like this busy house here with a lot of disruption. So a lot happening, but yet feeling like you're very limited, most likely. You'll get a boost when Jupiter comes into Pisces. But this Saturn Uranus is the last big challenge and adjustment you need to make. Whatever gains you've made here mentally and your kind of underlying motivations to get things done or get somewhere. This is the last big challenge from Uranus. It doesn't totally go away, but it's going to be easier to cope with next year. So you've been dealing with your home life and your career, kind of these energies pulling you back and forth. This last eclipse is it's near the South Node, so it's a little energy depleting. The career may be changing. It may be slowing down. It's possible, but that will help in the long run. Just think of it as a new phase, of transitioning into a new phase. So let's look at this Venus-Pluto conjunction over here in the friend area. It's also your allies, your supporters, your fans. So there's some review period in regards to that. Maybe particularly about a female, someone, maybe a friend, a female friend needs help here. Could be because something has been revealed that they're coping with. And so some of your attention will be on this friend or ally supporter area. So those are the horoscopes for each sign. I do readings as well. And so we can take an hour and go in depth into your chart. I'm just giving you like a few minutes for each sign for just this particular month. And we have a new year coming up. So the energies change and shift. So one way is to look at my free class that helps you deal with daily stress using astrology. It's basic and you don't need any astrology information to do it. Like you don't have to know a lot about astrology. It's kind of takes you step by step, and it gives you practical information to help with stress, just in small ways, addressing your physical well-being and your mental and emotional well-being as well. So the link is in the page that shows up at the end of this video. Thank you for watching.